No, I'm just kidding.
And with the leather, I got no chance. Oh. Radio Raheem here with Abel Sanchez, Trainer of the Year. You have Triple G coming into a fight in Madison Square Garden that many think is maybe his greatest challenge, and that he's facing a puncher and a guy who looks bigger than him. Are you considering any of those things to be true?
What do you think?
I think I would love to find out what you think.
I see Danny Jacobs as the biggest threat since Lemieux. He had a great amateur career, has a great right hand. I don't look at his minuses, I look at his pluses. The minus that everybody keeps mentioning is the fact that he got knocked out by Pirog, which he didn't get knocked out, he got knocked down, and then Robert held him down. I see Danny as a legitimate threat, but I like to hear what you're saying, and I like to hear what everybody else is saying, because after the fight, after he destroys Danny, I want the accolades. Don't say he was a bum. Don't say he was all those things. So I view him as a very, very good fighter. Andre's got a great program. He's done a great job with this guy and the guys before. Does Danny have the tools to withstand 12 rounds?
I will say this: I think 9-1 is an off odd. I think that's crazy.
That's a good bet.
Yeah, right.
That's a great bet, even if on $100.
So, Triple G's always said that his goal has been to unify these middleweight titles. There's still one left outstanding. But for this fight, he's going to have the longest layoff he's had in a long time. There's a lot of pressure to win this fight because looking forward is the big money with Canelo. Is any of that just mentally something that you even have to deal with, or are you addressing with him?
No, but since the Lemieux fight, the frustration of people just talking and not signing anything has been difficult on him. And in the Monroe fight, I know we keep beating this dead horse. In the Monroe fight, he was egging Willie to come on, to give it a fight, because once it gets too easy for him, he loses interest. In the weight fight, the same thing. This is the first fight. In the Brook fight also, when he hurt him in the first round, and then he wanted to make it a street fight. But this is the first fight since the Lemieux fight where the interest is back. For him, and it's not that he doesn't train. He trains hard for all the fights. It's just that once the fight happens, his interest is not as strong, let's just say. But Danny presents the kind of challenge, or a perceived threat and challenge, that he can win. He may be able to hurt the Golovkin. He can punch that hard. It's obvious by he's got 29 knockouts in 32 fights. Okay, so he's so only 3 guys have gone a distance. The same with Golovkin in the similar records. So this is the first fighter that really poses that kind of threat to him and to me. Also, because obviously I don't want this to end. So I have to make sure that we do the things that are necessary so that we destroy him the same way we've been destroying everybody else.
Now, one of the fights that he won where maybe you didn't get the accolades you thought you deserved was Kell Brook, because everyone thought Kell Brook was already, the weight wasn't right and it wasn't a fight that should have happened. But Kell Brook had more success than people thought. And when you see that performance, even in victory, were there things that you thought you could work on with Triple G? Did he Kell Brook show you anything that maybe Triple G can do better to not, be victim to those kind of shots?
Yes and no, but when we had the Jim Lampley interview before the fight, in the morning, I said to Jim, we're going to lose probably the first 3 or 4 rounds, because we're fighting a welterweight. We're fighting a guy with excellent hand speed, great skills, world champion, undefeated. He's going to be faster, and until a heavier guy assimilates the speed, but it's in any fight that you've ever seen where there's a lighter guy and a heavier guy. At the beginning, the lighter Amir Khan against Canelo. Canelo lost the first 4 rounds. And I said to Jim, we're going to lose the first 3 or 4 rounds because Brook will be faster. But once Golovkin gets his distance and starts touching him, the fight's going to be over. Yes, there was some things that I don't want to happen again, and one of them was him making it a street fight. But there goes the interest again. After the first round when he hurt him, this guy's not going to be nothing for me. I just want to make it just a crazy fight. He graded himself, and I graded in the same way after the fight with Jim. It was a terrible fight for him, but we were hoping. I don't know for sure in his mind how he thought about this, but maybe it was something to give people the incentive to sign on the dotted line. I don't know. I don't know what kind of businessman he is. I didn't get into his mind, but to me, there should have been guys chomping at the bit to get to him. And Danny's the only one that took it.
Well, it looks like Triple G's been chomping at the bit to get to Canelo. People wonder if Canelo's at the same mindset. Until we heard that he was willing to fight at 65 to face Chavez. Obviously, that fight's not happening next. But when you heard that, when you found out that Canelo was willing to fight a 165-pound fight and not fight Triple G at 60, what was the first thing that went through your mind? How did you receive that news?
Hypocrite. That's hypocritical. That's a question that should be asked of him every time you get in front of him. Why this guy and not that guy? And not because of the weight, but because I'm saying I'm not a middleweight. You know, I've said Golovkin would fight anybody up to 168. If the fight presented itself as not the weight, it's the financial part of it that everybody else wants so much money to face. This young man Jacobs is getting a ton of money to face Golovkin, and the only way that could be made is because of the ton of money. But when Canelo says I'm not a middleweight and then is willing to go up to 165, that's troublesome. That's hypocritical in my opinion. But then it may happen in September, and if it happens, great. But I'm not holding my breath.
And lastly, Abel, a fighter who did step up in weight and made a super fight, Andre Ward, faced Sergey Kovalev. I haven't talked to you since that fight. How did you score that fight? Did you think Ward won it? I know you thought Kovalev would win it. And then how do you see a rematch?
I thought Kovalev won the fight. I thought Kovalev won the fight by at least 2 points. But I thought that Kovalev fought the wrong fight. The second part of the fight allowed Andre into his style. And it's unfortunate when two great fighters and great teams come to an agreement for the future of those two prospective fighters, and then one doesn't have the honorable intentions of following through. They have a rematch clause, and all the particulars were discussed and signed off before the fight. And now it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen until the time limit runs out and Andre can do. Andre doesn't mind sitting out.
Why do you think that is?
Because he wants things on his terms. I've told you this before when you asked me about Golovkin fighting him. We're not going to wait for a prima donna. We're not going to wait for a guy that just wants to sit and make you suffer and make you miserable, which is what he's doing to Kovalev and Kathy. That agreement was signed prior to the first fight. So he can sit out and everybody's going to have to wait for him. That's just such not an honorable thing.
Radio Raheem with Abel Sanchez, Trainer of the Year. Thank you for the time. Thanks everybody for waiting. I really appreciate it, man. Always a pleasure.